Are the Elite going to show up in WWE? That is the big rumor and innuendo going on this week. We'll get into it right now. It's Wrestling with Fans. What is good, everyone? And welcome to this week's edition of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. This is a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans from a fan's perspective. My name is Kyle. This is episode 228, The Elite to WWE, question mark. We're going to talk about the prospect of Matt Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, and the cleaner Kenny Omega potentially heading to WWE sometime in 2023. It has been a hot button topic here on the interwebs over the last week or so, maybe. I don't know. I didn't talk about it last week, but what I did talk about last week was kind of the state of the podcast. Appreciate everybody checking out last week's show. I just wanted to kind of clear the air about some things going on here at Wrestling with Fans. Talk about some things coming up, like the 5-year anniversary special coming here in just a few weeks. I'm very excited for that for all of you guys. But we got a couple other things to do real quick, and we're going to talk wrestling. First off, you can check out the brand new figure unboxing for Brock Lesnar. We got the Brock Ultimate Edition just added to the collection. You can check it out. I'll put the title card somewhere like up here if you want to check that video out. Also coming to the channel very soon, I picked this up just this weekend. Acknowledge Him, Roman Reigns Ultimate Edition, found it at a local Walmart, so that unboxing is coming very soon as well. But one final thing before we get into all the fun stuff, let's plug some stuff here on the show, and we'll be right back to talk all things wrestling. Let me just interrupt myself here for a quick moment. First off, thank you for checking out Wrestling with Fans here on YouTube. If you're enjoying what you see, make sure to leave a big old thumbs up and click that subscribe button down below. The other ways you can help support the show is to follow us across all of our other social medias. Check us out, facebook.com/Wrestling with Fans. Hulk smash that like button to keep up to date with everything going on here with Wrestling with Fans. Or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Wrestling with Fans. Check us out on the web at WrestlingWithFans.com. New audio shows go up every single Sunday at midnight. Or you can take us on the go and download us to your favorite podcast, the listening device. You can get us wherever you get your podcast fix. Just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. We are on all the major platforms: Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Wherever you get your podcast fix, you can find Wrestling with Fans. Last but certainly not least, comments, questions, feedback, topics you want covered on the show, shoot me an email, wwfshow@gmail.com. Again, that's wwfshow@gmail.com. Links to everything are down in the video description and down below, so make sure you check that out. Without further ado, back to the show. All right, guys, coming back in here again. Welcome to the show. First things first, let's talk about the big announcement from this past week. We have finally, we have the first announcement for the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2023, and it is none other than Rey Mysterio. Who's that jumping out the sky? R-E-Y, Mysterio. Here we go. And the reports are coming out that longtime friend and former WCW star, amongst other places as well, but he's probably most known for his time in WCW, K-Dog himself, Conan, will be the one to induct Rey Mysterio into the WWE Hall of Fame this year. Also, there's a big rumor and innuendo going around there that the next person to be announced will be kind of a forbidden door, so to speak, inductee into the Hall of Fame. It is none other than a man who wrestled his final match just earlier this year, the Great Muta. Now, if you're not familiar with the Great Muta, I highly recommend going to the little YouTube search bar when you're done with this, of course, and looking up some really good old Great Muta stuff. He has such a long and storied career He did spend some time in WCW, but the majority of his time was in Japan. So I'll be interested to see what the next couple announcements are. The Hall of Fame will be here before we know it. I believe the Hall of Fame is scheduled for Thursday, March the 30th, or Friday, March 31st. I'm not sure which day. So we only have 2 weeks, and we are just now getting our very, very first Hall of Fame announcement. So they're going to be cranking these bad boys out over the next 2 weeks because WrestleMania, guys, is upon us. It is almost here. 3 weeks away. 3 weeks away. April 1st and 2nd, we're going to talk about some of the WrestleMania card and where we stand right now. But this is something I want to talk about real quick. This is an article posted over at F4W Online from the Wrestling Observer from Brian Rose. This was published 2 days ago on March the 10th. I am recording on Sunday, March the 12th. WWE meeting with potential buyers in April for first round bids. CNBC is reporting that WWE is set to meet with potential buyers in April in preparation for first-round bids. The article also stated that there is no guarantee that a transaction will take place. Talks of potential sale have ramped up since Vince McMahon returned to power in January, installing himself and 2 others into the board of directors, which ultimately voted him back as the chairman of the board. At the time, McMahon said he had made his return to the company with the intention of selling the promotion. McMahon had been ousted last July after it was revealed he used company funds to pay for hush money allegations. Now, there are no reports of who these meetings are going to be with. However, it seems that once WrestleMania concludes here in a couple weeks, Vince and company, well, more or less just Vince himself, is going to be meeting with some potential suitors to potentially and possibly buy the WWE brand. Talked about it here on the show back in January, and I'm sure it's going to be a hot button topic throughout the months of April and May, and probably even going into June and hell, the rest of the year for that matter. It's going to be a very interesting year, as if it hasn't already been in the first 2 months and 2 weeks of 2023. The rest of 2023 is absolutely going to be insane, especially with all these talks of, the potential sale coming. Another news story I want to touch on here. It was also announced earlier this week. I'll pull this article up off of PW Torch from Zach Haydorn. This was posted earlier in the week. WWE released a statement, a press release back on March the 8th. It says here, WWE today announced that 2-time Grammy Award-winning and global recording artist Bad Bunny will host Backlash this coming Saturday, May the 6th, live from the Castillo de Puerto Rico, Jose Miguel Aguilat in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Backlash marks the first WWE premium live event to take place in Puerto Rico since January 2005. Here's a quote from Bad Bunny. It says, quote, "In 2005, when I was a kid, I wasn't able to attend New Year's Revolution at El Castillo. Finally, 18 years later, WWE returns to the island with a massive event, and this time I won't miss it." Here's a quote from Paul Triple H Levesque, WWE's Chief Content Officer. It says here, quote, "We're excited to bring Backlash to San Juan as the demand for WWE premium live events outside of the continental United States continues to grow. Bad Bunny is one of the world's most popular entertainers, and nowhere is that more evident than in his native Puerto Rico. To learn more about registering for general ticket pre-sale opportunities, there's a link you can click on. And additionally, passes will become soon available for purchase." This is the first major live event in Puerto Rico since 2005. Of course, Bad Bunny has been appearing since the lead up to WrestleMania 37, where he teamed with Damian Priest to face The Miz and John Morrison. Bad Bunny was also a participant in the 2022 Men's Royal Rumble match, but has not appeared since then. So it looks like we are not only getting an international pay-per-view for the second time in a year. Of course, we had Clash at the Castle last year. We are getting Backlash in Puerto Rico, which should be very nice. I'm sure the locals are going to be all over. The crowd should be very hot all night, especially with their native son, Bad Bunny, right there to host the event. Really, really excited for that. So let's look at some WrestleMania stuff. Oh, a little tunage here. Yeah, let's get a little tunage while we talk WrestleMania, guys. Let's talk some WrestleMania. Again, WrestleMania takes place April's 1st and 2nd from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, with the tagline, of course, WrestleMania goes Hollywood. Once again, harkening back to WrestleMania 21 when it originally went Hollywood. That weekend, let's just step back for a second, because earlier that day on Saturday, let's just talk WrestleMania weekend. We get NXT Stand and Deliver, which is going to be an awesome show. I have not been a fan of NXT since the 2.0 rebirth, and now that they're kind of back to a sort of black and gold brand, there's not a lot there that has really wanted to bring me back into the fold, so to speak. But I will probably check out Stand and Deliver. It's going to take place at 1 p.m. Eastern, earlier in the day before night one of WrestleMania. And there are 2 matches currently announced, and both of them intrigue me very much. Braun Breaker will be defending the NXT Championship against Carmelo Hayes, which I think will be just a barn burner. I fully expect Braun Breaker to make his debut right after WrestleMania, potentially as the Raw after Mania, which we know is always good for some surprises and some debuts and things like that. So I'm really curious to see what the outcome of this match will be. Will they let Braun kind of retire from NXT as champion, or will they put the strap on Carmelo Hayes? I fully expect Carmelo Hayes and possibly even Trick Williams to be on the main roster not long after. I think both of them are awesome from what I've seen. And also, the other big storyline going into Stand and Deliver has been Grayson Waller versus the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Grayson Waller did challenge Shawn Michaels to a match for Stand and Deliver. However, the Heartbreak Kid and the head of NXT had other plans in mind, because it's going to be Grayson Waller versus the returning Johnny Gargano. Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Takeover is going to be back on the black and gold brand for NXT Stand and Deliver, representing the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, in his match against Grayson Waller. I am very, very curious to what the outcomes of these 2 matches are. I'm sure we'll probably get more. I fully expect a match between Gigi Dolan and JC Jane to be on Stand and Deliver since the breakup of Toxic Attraction after the release of Mandy Rose. I'm very, very hopeful that someday Mandy Rose will return to the company and bring JC and Gigi to the main roster as Toxic Attraction. I thought they were a great act from what I saw of them in NXT. The little that I did keep up on over the last couple years, but Stand and Deliver, April 1st. It's going to be from the Crypto.com Arena in LA. I'm kind of excited for WrestleMania weekend. But to the main events themselves, as of this recording on March the 12th, there are 8 confirmed matches for WrestleMania, and only one we know what night it's taking place on. On night 1, we have gotten confirmation that it will be none other than Seth freaking Rollins taking on Logan Paul. I think it's a pretty cool story they're telling. Logan has been impressive in his WWE appearances to date, and I expect him being in the ring with the likes of a Seth Rollins to just bring out the absolute best in him. I fully expect this match to potentially steal the entire weekend. I'm looking forward to it. As far as the other 7 matches, we don't know which ones they're going to take place on, but we can kind of assume that the main event of night 2, then the match that's going to close the whole weekend, will be none other than Roman Reigns. This guy right here, acknowledge him. Even though he only comes with 1 belt, he's going to be a double champ because, of course, I have my tribal chief on my desk with both belts. And oddly enough, little side tangent, the Brock Lesnar Ultimate did come with both belts, so I'll be able to put the proper goldage around the waist of the tribal chief Ultimate. I'm excited to unbox that one. But we can assume, again, that that's going to close night 2. I don't think any other match could close night 2. Like the main event, the main event, the very last match of WrestleMania weekend is going to be Roman versus Cody. I have a lot of thoughts on that, but I kind of want to save that for another time. I want to talk about the potential of what if Roman does actually beat Cody. But I'm going to save that. Maybe we'll bring that up next week. Maybe we'll do that in the preview when I get Rick back on the show here very soon. Of the other matches we can confirm, Charlotte Flair will be defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley. I fully expect this to be the crowning moment of Rhea that we didn't get 2 years ago when Charlotte beat Rhea for the NXT Women's Championship. I still expect to have another great match. The two had an awesome match during the COVID WrestleMania, but I'm very excited to see this and see Mommy get crowned as SmackDown Women's Champion. On the Raw side, Bianca Belair will be defending the Raw Women's Championship against Asuka. I've loved the change in Asuka's character. I think it's something fresh, something new, something we haven't seen from Asuka within WWE. While I've always loved the Empress Tomorrow dating back to her run as NXT Women's Champion and the dominance she showed on the Black and Gold brand back in the day, I think this fresh start for Asuka is really building up. I think it's nice. Again, other than the match she had with Carmella the other week where Carmella kind of dominated Asuka, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. You want to make your challenger to Bianca look as strong as possible to make this match believable as possible, because nobody has really tested Bianca since she captured the Raw Women's Championship. But either way, I think this is going to be an excellent match as well. And the match that has everyone worried that potentially Vince McMahon is back in creative. We have Brock Lesnar taking on Omos, or Almost, as Brock Lesnar likes to say, with MVP in his corner. Again, I talked about this briefly last week. If not Omos, then what do you really do with Brock? Aside from bringing back a Goldberg and having that match for the 10th time that nobody wants to see again. But I'm interested to see where this is when we get to WrestleMania. I talked about this on the show either last week or the week before. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there was some rumor and innuendo that Brock was kind of saying his goodbyes to people in the backstage. With Vince gone, there's been some, rumor and talk that Brock might stick around much longer because him and Vince always had a good relationship, and Vince always took care of Brock. So with Vince gone, but now that he's back, who really knows what's going to happen? So we'll come to find out. We also confirmed that Austin Theory will be defending the WWE United States Championship against John Cena, the man himself. So John Cena making his return to the company, and real briefly, let's talk about the promo from Raw. Now, while I thought it was very entertaining to hear that side of John kind of flailing some hardcore insults at Austin Theory, if this does not end with Theory beating John Cena, then it's going to be a waste. Because if John Cena basically just belittles Austin Theory to the point where everybody is basically laughing at Austin Theory now, and then you go ahead and beat him at WrestleMania, you've just killed him. You've effectively killed him in the eyes of the entire WWE fan base. So I think if they really have such high hopes for Austin Theory, as Vince McMahon did last year, Austin and Vince spent around 6 months together on screen. And it seems that Triple H, as head of creative, also has some high hopes for Austin Theory. I really hope that Theory comes out on top. Cena puts him over graciously, maybe not even crowning him the next top star. But when you have someone the likes of Austin Theory, who has been positioned as someone near the top of the card, not at the top, but near the top, he's been holding the U.S. Championship. I believe he's a 2-time champion at this point. But when you beat who some consider the GOAT, John Cena, on the biggest stage of them all, that's really going to help elevate him up to the next level, where I could see Theory challenging whomever comes out of the main event, the Cody Roman Reigns. A lot of people are predicting Cody, so Austin Theory Cody would be matchups you can look forward to, maybe SummerSlam, Survivor Series, next year's Rumble, or even next year's WrestleMania. So, you can really create a star. This is a very big star-making opportunity at WrestleMania with John Cena and Austin Theory. And the final match that we can confirm will happen will be the brand new women's tag champs, Lita and Becky Lynch, teaming with Lita's bestie, Trish Stratus, the two Hall of Famers returning to team with the man to take on Damage Control, the team of Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. There are talks that Trish is going to be a heel turn where we could see Becky and Trish leading into SummerSlam. I would love to see it. I would love to see Trish come back and work a program with Becky. I think if you're not going to have Becky in the title picture, you need to have a good story for her. And that seems to be kind of the main issue with WWE and their women's division, is if you're not fighting for the title or contending for the title, they don't really have much for you. So I think using Lita and Trish in this way to team with Becky to take on the heel group of Damage Control, I think is a great way to use the Hall of Famers and legends, and B, if they're willing to stick around, which rumor is that Trish will be sticking around throughout the summer, you can have her work a program with someone the likes of Becky Lynch, and people are going to love it. It's going to be a generational war, and I'm really looking forward to it. But that's down the line, but the main thing is a 6-woman tag taking place at WrestleMania. And the final match, we don't know the full participants, but it is confirmed that Gunther will be defending the Intercontinental Championship. They had the Fatal 5-Way this past Friday on SmackDown, and it seems Drew and Sheamus are kind of deadlocked. And again, it's looking like we're going to get a triple threat match leading into WrestleMania, but it hasn't been confirmed, but Gunther will be defending the title against someone at WrestleMania this weekend. There's also some other stuff going on. Of course, you have the whole bloodline with the Usos, Sami and Kevin Owens. I fully expect we're going to see Sami and KO take on the Usos for either one set of belts or the unified tag team titles. I've been talking about this for weeks, that I'm really hoping that we split the belts up. I mean, I'd like the WWE and Universal Championships to be split up. I want the tag titles to be split up. And I'm really hoping that this takes place, if not at WrestleMania, soon after, so we can kind of separate the brands back again. Either that or just get rid of the brand extension altogether. But that's just my 2 cents on WrestleMania. Let me know down in the comments below, or drop in the DMs. Let me know what match you're looking forward to that we know so far, and give me one good prediction for a match at WrestleMania. But before we get into the big story, WWE, the Elite to the WWE, let's take a quick pause. We'll be right back here on Wrestling with Fans. Let me just interrupt myself here for a quick moment. First off, thank you for checking out Wrestling with Fans here on YouTube. If you're enjoying what you see, make sure to leave a big old thumbs up and click that subscribe button down below. The other ways you can help support the show is to follow us across all of our other social medias. Check us out, facebook.com/Wrestling with Fans. Hulk smash that like button to keep up to date with everything going on here with Wrestling with Fans. Or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Wrestling with Fans. Check us out on the web at WrestlingWithFans.com. New audio shows go up every single Sunday at midnight. Or you can take us on the go and download us to your favorite podcast, the listening device. You can get us wherever you get your podcast fix. Just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. We are on all the major platforms: Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Wherever you get your podcast fix, you can find Wrestling with Fans. Last but certainly not least, comments, questions, feedback, topics you want covered on the show, shoot me an email, wwfshow@gmail.com. Again, that's wwfshow@gmail.com. Links to everything are down in the video description and down below, so make sure you check that out. Without further ado, back to the show. All right, guys, coming back in here. Wrestling with Fans, episode 220. Let's talk about the big story. The title of the episode, The Elite to WWE, ? Now, there was some talk late last week, the week before, it's been within the last week or so, that Kenny Omega, Matt and Nick Jackson, their contracts are expiring soon, or on the verge of expiring, or, you know, and apparently they are in negotiation phase with Tony Khan and AEW. Of course, Cody Rhodes, the other executive vice president from AEW's launch, ended up leaving the company at the end of 2021, making his debut at WrestleMania in 2022, and is now set for a main event match at WrestleMania 39 against Roman Reigns. Will his fellow former EVPs follow the American Nightmare to WWE? That seems to be what a lot of people are talking about over the last week or so. Kenny Omega's contract reportedly ends the end of February or at the end of March. I can't remember where it was. I don't have the report in front of me. But like with a lot of WWE contracts, it is believed that there is some time added onto his contract from when he was out injured last year. The same goes for Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. Now, it's no secret that there's been a lot of drama over in AEW with the all-out brawl-out. Last year, the fight with Omega, the Bucks, and CM Punk and company. We did not see the Elite on AEW TV for a while. They were under suspension. They have since returned and won the Trios titles, only to lose the Trios titles at Revolution last weekend. I believe that's when that took place, at Revolution, to the House of Black. So with them dropping the belts, could that be a sign that maybe the Elite are heading to WWE? Now, I've seen a lot of people talk about different scenarios and things like that. With Cody Rhodes returning. Now, I'm going to have to use Cody as kind of a comparison here because he's the closest comparison I can make to the Elite, Kenny and the Bucks making that jump. Kenny Omega, while I am not a fan of some of his stuff, the man is an exceptional worker. He is one of the most talented performers in the entire history of professional wrestling. I'm not the biggest fan of his match styles and the no selling and the constant high spots, but the man is talented and he has a massive following around the world. Bringing in someone like a Kenny Omega, like say for example, Kenny gets 6 months added to his contract, so that puts us into September. Comes into WWE, makes a surprise debut at the Survivor Series as part of a team. Maybe setting up a Cody and some mystery partners versus, the Bloodline or something like that. They keep that going. Roman makes his return after taking a break after WrestleMania. And we get a full Elite reunion with Cody, Kenny, and the Bucks versus the Bloodline. I think that would be pretty cool. But a guy like Kenny Omega, say he comes in like in the fall. Let's say he gets 6 months added on, whatever it is. Comes in the fall. By next year's WrestleMania 40, you could easily expect to have Kenny Omega in a high-profile match, if not a main event position at WrestleMania next year. The WWE brass, especially someone like Triple H, who heads creative, would be very keen on the following that Kenny Omega has and the type of quality of match that Kenny Omega can have. Whether I like it or not, it's irrelevant. That's my opinion. There's a lot of people that like him, especially Dave Meltzer. And I've the one thing I've thought about that I don't know if anybody else has thought about is what would happen to Kenny's match star rating in these big matches if he went to WWE? Because it seems no matter who he performs with in a tag team, a trio, or singles match, he's putting on close to a 5-star banger every time in the eyes of Uncle Dave Meltzer. And I'm wondering if that will continue in the WWE if he puts on matches with the likes of, say, Seth Rollins or even a Logan Paul for that matter, or Cody, or an Austin Theory, Roman Reigns. There's so many dream matches you could put on with Kenny Omega in the WWE that I think the prospect for him to make the jump would be intriguing. He wouldn't have the power and the control, as a role as an executive vice president that he does in AEW. But it seems to me, at least from what I read and what I hear and things like that, that Tony Khan is almost turning into a Vince McMahon, where he is kind of consolidating the power. Everything runs through him. Where I think in the early days, it seemed more like all of the cooks in the kitchen had a hand in that night's meal. And I think now it's more of everything filters through the master chef, Tony Khan, in AEW. And you can kind of say the same thing for Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. And I've said it before, again, I'm not a big fan of their type of wrestling, the no-selling, the high spots. But again, they have a massive following. I do enjoy watching being the... I like them as people. I think they're entertaining as people and being the Elite. But as far as their in-ring work, I haven't been the biggest fan. But I'd be lying if I said I was not intrigued at some of the potential matchups that the Young Bucks could have in the WWE, of course. First and foremost, the Usos, Sammy and KO, potentially, the Viking Raiders, have a War Machine versus Young Bucks match, which I'm sure we haven't seen in a long time. I'm sure they've wrestled before in the past, but just being able to see some of these dream matchups, and then the Elite teaming up in trios against the likes of like Bloodline or the Judgment Day or like the Brawling Brutes, I think would be some interesting matchups. And the big selling point, at least for me, for all three of these guys would be they would make a ton of money. I'm sure they are probably very well compensated in AEW, and I'm sure their merch sales are through the roof. I mean, you go to AEW events or you go to wrestling conventions, everybody's wearing Elite shirts or Kenny Omega shirts. Like, they love the Elite. Same thing with like the Bullet Club, Elite. You see those shirts everywhere. And I think that if they were to come to WWE with their marketing machine, they're going to be pumping out shirts. They're going to be pumping out figures from Mattel. We're going to see Elites, probably Ultimates of these guys. The back end for them is potentially limitless for the kind of money they would make. They would be put in high profile positions because it's going to be seen that, if you jump ship from AEW to WWE, there is a lot of potential here. Where they're going to throw money at them potentially. I know let's just take the whole WWE sale out of the equation, because that's obviously going to have a big impact on things, because WWE is going to try to cut as much cost to make their profit from a sale as big as possible. So we could be seeing releases after WrestleMania, but again, I think the potential of having, completing the executive vice president Infinity Gauntlet for Vince and Triple H and company, I think they're going to pull for it. If they can pull Kenny and the Bucks, I think they're going to do everything in their power to see that. And it's also could potentially lead, and I think Cody started this trend where, 2 years ago you had everybody leaving WWE to head to AEW. They were tired of Vince. They were tired of the booking. And I fully understand that, because it was kind of a rough time there, through the pandemic. Until Vince, was, removed from power. He stepped down after the whole allegations and the hush money and stuff. I think with Cody, what WWE has done with Cody in the last year is really starting to show maybe it's not so bad over here without Vince running things, with Triple H in charge. You got Shawn down in NXT. I mean, WWE pulled Dragon Lee, which I thought was crazy. And he did make his debut at the Roadblock NXT special, sitting in the crowd, and he did make his NXT in-ring debut during a house show this past week. So I expect some big things from Dragon Lee as well, him coming in. And of course, the one elephant in the room we haven't talked about, maybe not the elephant in the room, but the switchblade in the room we haven't talked about. Jay White is out there as well. I mean, you could have a full-on Bullet Club in WWE because you already have Cody. You've got AJ Styles. You've got Gallows and Anderson, the Good Brothers. There's a nice foursome. Finn Balor is there as well. If you bring in Kenny and the Bucks and potentially a Jay White, you could have a massive Bullet Club stable reunion in WWE. And some of the talent of Jay White, I really do like Jay White. He could end up in WWE. He could end up in AEW as well. But I would love to know what you think. If you're watching the video version of this, comment down below. Do you think Kenny and the Bucks are going to jump ship over to the E and join WWE sometime in 2023? And Jay White, what do you think Kenny, the Bucks, and Jay White are going to do? You think they're going to go to WWE? You think they're going to go to stay in AEW or go to AEW? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to get your all's opinion on this. Or if you're not watching the YouTube, if you're listening to the audio show, shoot me a DM on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Probably the Facebook. Just message the Facebook page. If you haven't liked the Facebook page, like the Facebook page. Shoot me a DM. Let me know what you think. I'd love to start reading some fan responses to this. When I post this show, I'm going to put that in there. And we're going to read some results on next week's episode. But I think the potential is there. I'm not going to be one of those guys like, oh my God, Kenny and the Bucks are in WWE. Oh, they're my favorite wrestlers now. I'm excited for the potential of what we could see, some of these dream matchups with Kenny in singles competition and the Bucks versus some tag teams. Because I've already said a couple weeks ago, even though it may not be the case now, but I still would love to see FTR return to have like the Bucks and FTR and the Usos and KO and Sammy. You've got the Viking Raiders. You've got the Street Profits. The Street Profits versus Bucks match. Oh my God, that would be insane. Totally insane. But again, I'm not going to fanboy out and just turn into the biggest elite marks. But I am very excited at the potential that we could see in WWE. But that's what I got for that. Let me see if there's anything else on the laundry list of things I wanted to talk about. We talked about that, and that. But yeah, I'm excited for WrestleMania. We've only got 3 weeks. 3 short weeks, guys, for WrestleMania. And I'm really looking forward to what is going to be happening WrestleMania week. Now, WrestleMania week. Let me run down the WrestleMania week things, and then we're going to end the podcast here. March the 27th, that Monday, we're going to be live streaming. We're going to do a Raw preview show on Monday night, talking about the go-home edition of Monday Night Raw. Also that morning, it'll be the full-blown WrestleMania preview. I'm going to have Rick on for the WrestleMania preview. That's going to drop Monday, March the 27th. Tuesday, March the 28th, we're going to do another live stream. It'll be a Raw recap. We're going to kind of set the table for WrestleMania after Raw is over and in the books. We're going to talk about what we learned on Raw, any last-minute things. And probably maybe do a quick preview of some NXT Stand and Deliver. Wednesday the 29th marks the 5-year anniversary of Wrestling with Fans. And that is when I'm going to be dropping the 5-year anniversary special. We're going to record it the weekend before, either the probably the 25th. Probably won't live stream it. But we're going to release that on the 5-year anniversary, March 29th. The audio episode is going to drop the same day, so you can watch the audio or watch the video version or listen to the audio version. So you're gonna get a double dose of Wrestling with Fans podcast that week. And then when we live stream it, I'm gonna live stream the video version that night, and I'm gonna be in the live chat. It won't be live, but I'll be in the live chat chatting with you guys if you have questions or comments or anything like that about the stuff we talk about during that episode. I'm looking forward to it so much. Again, Bobby, OG co-host, will be back. Chris, almost a full OG co-host. He was back there in the early days as well. Rick is also confirmed. He's been on some more recent pay-per-view reviews. And I believe Jason will be back as well, another near OG co-host. So I'm excited. We're going to have 5 guys just sitting around chatting wrestling. I'm going to try to get the wife, get Jen on. She's been around since the early days as well. Well, not the early days, but kind of the middle days. The middle days, not the early days. So she'll be around. She was on the 3-year anniversary we did 2 years ago when I had all the guys back. I didn't do anything for 4 years, but 5 years is a big milestone, and I'm looking forward to have all the guys back on as well. Then on Thursday the 30th, also going to do another live stream. Now, Thursday the 30th, what I'm thinking, I'm kind of changing my mind because I will pick up WWE 2K23 when it drops 2 weeks earlier. On the 17th, it drops. Maybe what I'll do is do a game night where we'll do some, we'll put the WrestleMania card in WWE 2K23 and let it simulate the card and see what it comes up with. I think that would be a fun thing to do. Now, Friday the 30th, I think Friday the 31st, there will be no stream. It is my bowling night. It's the one night I actually get out of the house. So there will be no live stream on Friday night. But I think I might do a in-depth solo preview, and I'll drop that on Friday. Or do something for Friday since I won't be able to go live that week. And then, of course, WrestleMania April 1st and 2nd. I don't know exactly what the plan is. Of course, I'll be watching. Probably be watching it with Rick and probably some other people. We had the next door neighbors over for the Rumble. They had fun. We had some food. So we usually go to one house or the other. We all live on the same block and get together and watch the pay-per-views. I'd love to do a live stream watch along, but depending on how things go, I probably won't be able to. But maybe we'll do a live stream earlier in the day, post Stand and Deliver. and talk about some things. And then Sunday, April 2nd, night 2, we'll do a night 1 recap, and then we'll preview night 2. And then finally, it's going to be a long WrestleMania week, guys. Monday, April the 3rd, the Raw after WrestleMania. Go live again for a Raw preview show, and maybe the first few minutes of Raw just to see how it kicks off. I am looking forward to WrestleMania week. It is going to be a long week. But for you guys, it is totally worth it. I'm looking forward to all the stuff. Again, the streams, the 5-year anniversary special, Stand and Deliver at WrestleMania. It's going to be a super fun week, and I hope you guys join. If you've made it this far in the video version of the show, make sure you super click that subscribe button down there, and let me find this thing real quick. Let's have the stinger. Just like that, subscribe. Click the bell notifications to be notified anytime a new video goes live or anytime we drop a live stream. Again, Fig Friday, guys. If you haven't checked that out already, in the channel we have the Brock Lesnar Ultimate Figure unboxing. And then coming soon, we also have the Roman Reigns Ultimate Edition. Again, I found him at local Walmart. I'm excited to open the Tribal Chief with the red. Of course, as you can see, I have the, dropped the box there. I have this Roman. I'm not sure which series this was, the top picks or something, but he had the black gauntlet. I painted it gold to match what he was at the time, but now it's red, so I may keep this gold. I may update him, but I'm really excited to crack this new Roman open. Plus, I still have a stack of figs from the New Year's Christmas ringside haul. I'm kind of unboxed. I'm getting a little behind on those. But every Friday, again, it's hashtag Fig Friday here on Wrestling with Fancy. A brand new wrestling figure video every single Friday on the channel. But that's going to do it. All the social media stuff is linked in the video description down below. The social medias are also linked in the audio version of the show below if you're listening to the podcast form. I don't know why it keeps switching over to this tune, so let's go back to this. Here we go. We're good. There we go. There's the theme song, Ghost Town, which is from Stream Beats. That's where I get all the tunes. They are not sponsoring me. I just love to plug it because I love the Stream Beats. I love playing it here on the podcast, all the YouTube and all the podcasts. It's all Stream Beats. Shout out to Harris Heller and the Stream Beats team for putting out such amazing stuff for us to use. And it's all free, royalty-free, copyright-free music. That's what you hear on Wrestling with Fans. You can see I did a little update here in the back. Let's do a live cam and we'll end the show here. But you can see I put some stuff up. I got some new figgies on the wall. I got my Creed cloth on the wall. Shout out to Jason for that. The Bret Hart picture he got me. And then you can see I got some more belts. And I got a little wrestling ring display. I got some pops up there. And I got some other stuff down there as well. But doing a little upgrade in the studio, even though the studio is going to go away here in the next year, as the wife and I are expecting a daughter in July. So I'm going to get it look all nice and pretty, only to tear it down in the next 9 months or so. But, while I have it, I'm going to enjoy this space. But, guys, that's going to do it. I've rambled on here and extended the show for about 5 minutes longer than it needed to be. But, I just love making these, the content, the podcast, the videos for you guys. So appreciate all the support as we close in on 5 years here at Wrestling with Fans. Again, sound off in the comments. What do you think Kenny and the Bucks and potentially Jay White are going to do? Are they going to go to AEW, stay in AEW, or are they all going to go to WWE? Let me know. I want to hear your responses. But that's going to be a wrap, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. Once again, my name is Kyle. And I'll see you all next time right here on Wrestling with Fans.